Hello, I'm so glad you're here with us today at St. Paul's United Church in Oakville, Ontario. We are on this beautiful and fertile and diverse land, which is steeped in Indigenous history, and we acknowledge the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation as the present people and stewards of the land that connects us all. We have much to learn through listening and friendship, and we'll seek relationship that is reconciling. I'm Carolyn Smith, and with Deborah Lafayette, we serve here with all of you in this affirming congregation of St. Paul's. These past couple of weeks, I have heard many of your reactions to the events in our communities and our country mixed with my own. I know there are people who are tuning in today who are new to St. Paul's and wondering what we're about. What in God's name is faithful action when we feel helpless? What is faithful action when we all balance choices in our daily lives, our relationships, our longings for the community and for the planet we share? And how are we joyfully serving this United Church of Canada on its 96th anniversary, when this week we have heard much condemnation of church as the source of many problems? I hope that in our worship of a divine creator of diversity and love, the various voices you hear today reflect those prayers that are hanging heavy within you. And I hope that you see life and hope and laughter here as well. This is how we keep courage on the road we walk together. So we draw together now. You might have your candle ready at home, or please share with me in lighting this one, offering an affirming rainbow welcome, divinely delighting in all the diversity we come from, as this candle of peace sparks to life. We know the peace of Christ is with us, peace that crossed boundaries to reconcile strangers into friends. I wish you peace. It crosses time and space to you, and it reflects out to the world around us. We are called to worship.
Compassionate and gracious Spirit, when we do not hear your vision as shared through other cultures and traditions, challenge our ways. When, in our zeal to tell the good news of Jesus, we've been closed to the value of the spirituality of others, challenge our ways. When we confuse Western ways and cultures with the depth and breadth and length and height of the gospel of Christ, challenge our ways. When we impose our civilization as a condition of belonging, challenge our ways. When we try to make others be like us, gather all of us as reflections of you, O God, challenge our ways. This week, this June 2021, with the headlines loud around us, we acknowledge the pain of peoples not white, not straight, not settler, especially the Indigenous people of Canada, Muslim people, Black people, Asian people, 2S and LGBTQIA people. We name the persistent struggles to overcome division and move past ingrained prejudices into envision a future flourishing together. We confess our frustrations that get in the way of listening. We confess our longing to move forward rather than sit in discomfort. As a result, we are all poor in this country, and we are not what we are meant to be by you. We ask your forgiveness, Creator God. We ask for the courage to walk in right paths, to seek healing, well-being, and reconciliation so that all peoples may be blessed and God's creation healed. Amen. And we are assured that God's pardon and gracious blessing is with us.
The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon
Morning, St. Paul's. I am Jay Smith.
Still Jeff Lafferer.
We are the freed husbands of Deborah and Carolyn. Unlocked. No more lockdown.
Isn't that amazing? I thought phase one was going to be like, oh, it's just the first step. Boy, it feels free, doesn't it?
It does.
So everybody going out to patios and getting excited. I can't wait to go to Home Depot.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Well, St. Paul's, we're going to do announcements this week because you know what? That's kind of what they pay us for. And by the way, they don't pay us much. So, but we made double this week what they paid us last week.
Yeah. Overtime.
Overtime. That's right. That's right. I don't even have to work this week if Deborah's off. I'm doing this for goodness of my heart.
Well, that means when she comes back next week that she's going to be swamped and have a lot to do. So everybody out there, just please leave Deborah alone and let her get.
Yeah, got to give her time. That's right, and ability to kind of ease back. That's right. All right. So the announcements. Library is updating their books, and what they're hoping to do is get the books so maybe a little bit more current, but also reflecting Black authors and Black stories, Indigenous, LGBTQ plus. And there is a list of books in the email newsletter that goes out, written by Candy. Sorry, you missed your cue there, Jay. I know. Anyway, so if you want to help out, you can purchase one of those or give money toward purchasing. That'd be great. There is a summer series on racism through the medium and different mediums, and it's an opportunity to still engage on a heavy topic, but in different ways. So again, in the newsletter, next Sunday is a special worship by Evan Swan Smith, who is from the Toronto Urban Native Ministry. And we're really excited to have them join us, and I hope we can get a lot of people to tune in for that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And today we have another special guest. It's like nonstop guests right now. So Rob, welcome. You're back.
Yes, I am. I'm wearing a different hat.
Yeah. So what brings you today to the announcements?
Well, I what I'd like to do is ask everybody to save a date, and the date is Friday, November the 12th. And you go, well, why do you need that much notice? It's just that we want to kind of give a bit of heads up and get people to mark it on their calendars. We want to do another variety show. We want to do a virtual one. And we thought it could be kind of fun. We haven't done one since a regular variety show since 2017. So maybe it's time to do one. And we thought we would do one. If you're not familiar with a variety show, it's basically showcases all of talent that's within St. Paul's. We do a lot of music. We've had dancing, which is great. There's songs and skits, and it's just a real good time. So we'd like to just get people thinking about, put that on your calendar. And the performers go from the youngest members to the oldest members. We try to showcase everybody, and we just want you to get thinking about if you might want to be a performer. We're going to solidify the agenda in September, but think about what you might like to do or who you could collaborate with. You've got the summer to think about it. So that's kind of what we've got. And Catherine's going to help to pull together all the music videos, and we appreciate her doing that. Catherine's actually going to do a little video, which is going to follow, which talks about memories. And one of the nice things about the variety show is that we have pictures, and it's interesting to look back on the pictures, and it's just heartwarming to see all of the some of the young faces that have matured over the years. And in many cases, some of our performers have turned into very talented performers. You'll see some faces of people that are no longer with us, and that's heartwarming too. In that it brings back some good memories when they were with us, and that their memories will live on. So anyways, that's essentially what we're thinking of. So if I could leave with you the one thought, and that is the date is Friday evening, November the 12th. If you could pop that on your calendar, and if you're a potential performer, start thinking about it. And as I said, we'll start to pull the agenda together in September. Thank you.
That's amazing. You asked Jeff and I to host it.
Yes. Oh, yes. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that because I plan on getting revenge on Catherine for the whole Jazz Hands thing. So, Catherine.
Oh, 100%. And I think just so that no one takes her idea, I think Jay and I are willing to announce today the first idea for this. And so Jay and I have already been working on it, and we're going to be using Harold's pool for this. And so no one else takes her idea, we're going to be doing synchronized underwater basket weaving.
Yes.
So we're really looking forward to this. So for those of you out there who are thinking of doing it, we've taken that slot.
Is it true that you have to block Harold's pool off for the entire summer for the filming?
Yes.
100%. And
that's very gracious of Harold.
Well, he doesn't know yet, so this will be kind of an announcement for him as well.
We need a lot of practice.
We do. I can't keep staying under. That's the problem. So.
All right, St. Paul's, thank you. Have a great week. And we're going to end in that Catherine kind of way. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for hanging in today. I know it was a little glitchy to start off with, but sometimes there are just things that I don't know how to fix. But hopefully everything else is sorted out. We'll see. Anyway, variety show, that is something that is entirely new for me. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. This is a spring in our step. Lots of laughter and chatter about this so far. And it's good to bring people together for something fun. I also know a bunch of folks have been embracing the lifting of the hard lockdown this weekend, so I hope you're able to venture out a little bit more. I know some folks are seeing family. I hope you get to see people you've been missing. Today happens to be the week that we celebrate the 96th anniversary of our United Church of Canada. On June 10th, 1925, large contingents from the Methodist Church and the Presbyterians joined together to create this new denomination, along with some others. And now we're known for progressive change and social justice. So Kent, our chair of council, offered our prayer of confession earlier, a confession that was adapted as a prayer from our United Church of Canada official apology in 1986 to the Indigenous and First Nations peoples. The intentional work of reconciliation has continued since then, and you might want to read some more about it on the United Church website. I'm humbled also to see the action and the uprising of support for our Muslim sisters and brothers and against racism down in London this week. And yesterday there was a march, and many of our United Church colleagues and friends were there in strength. So this morning, as we're trying to make sense of this world, our scripture is read by Judy and Bert, and our next song is a special project by ministers from the United Church from all across the country in honor of the 96th anniversary.
Good morning. Today's reading is from John chapter 13, verses 1 to 15, and we're reading from the New Revised Standard Version. Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus.
And during supper, Jesus, knowing that God had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table and took off his outer robe and tied a towel around his waist. And then he poured water in a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around his waist.
He came to Simon Peter, who said, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?"
Jesus answered, "You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand."
Peter said, "You will never wash my feet."
Then Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me."
Simon Peter said, "Then, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head."
Jesus said to him, "One who has bathed does not need to wash, except for his feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For he knew who was to betray him, and for this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean."
After Jesus had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and had returned to the table, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example, that you also should do as I have done to you."
I bet last year a minister creating something so techy as that, with all those other ministers being so techy, it would have been impossible. But we ministers and church folk discovered life outside our walls and our habits, following a daring spirit out of our comfort zone to accomplish brave new things. The servant song sings of our purpose as church, as disciples, creating a world as God dreams it, walking the mile and bearing the load together over these past 96 years since the union of the United Church of Canada. We celebrate this 96th anniversary. We say happy birthday. The United Church of Canada is on the frontier edge of change in Christianity, ordaining women in 1936, throwing open the doors to Two-Spirit and LGBTQIA people, offering the first church apology to Indigenous people, creating intercultural and interfaith and Indigenous ministries that build bridges and offer healing as vibrant efforts within our denomination. I can't imagine serving anywhere else. But this month, we must hold up the other hand and acknowledge the United Church of Canada's complicity in running residential schools, in civilizing society to our Anglo-centric, settler-centric way, in minimizing other faiths and cultures like our Muslim neighbors and the racialized and othered people on our edges. We hear about the big ways, but it happens every day in small, persistent ways. Just as some of us cringed a little bit when we didn't understand the French lyrics in that last song, try to be compassionate with, know the feelings of the friends in our circle here singing hymns each week with us in English, for whom English is not their first language. Just as I cringed seeing that first image of our United Church Union, a church filled with stuffy white settler men, let's be compassionate, feel with the experience of people different. Indeed, reflect back on that era of Canada. No one was elevated to government without likely being a fine upstanding member of the church, a trustee or a superintendent or a deacon of our church. Those people became our MPs and our prime ministers and our corporations. Our United Church was created by an act of parliament. Times have changed, but we are rooted deeply. A lot has changed for the better, thanks be to God. Many of us have loved our church communities. We have shining moments to celebrate. But some of those moments took a long, long time, and some are still playing out. I am glad you're here with me, walking this road, nurturing friendships, and still inspired in some way by the Spirit and the way of Jesus, who broke down every barrier and turned the world on its head. This past 2 weeks, I watched an Indigenous Anglican minister take off her collar and commit to changing the church before she puts it back on. I myself have been smacked down on social media by the outpouring of anger and pain of Indigenous advocates who don't understand my church. They don't need to. After decades of them being diminished in the shadow of church and government, I humbly take my turn to feel discomfort and still elevate their voices. And my option would be to give up serving, to throw up my hands in frustration, to retreat to what is comfortable and familiar for me. Except that breaks my heart. It should break our hearts. For the painful history we hold in this hand, allow, O God, our hearts to be broken. The Gospel of John says Jesus took off his robe and tied a towel around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet. He said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, so if I, your teacher and Lord, have washed your feet, you also should do as I have done to you." Now that it's summer, you can understand the foot thing here. I wear sandals a lot, which means dirty feet and sometimes dry, painful, cracked skin. Feet aren't known to smell like roses either. So Jesus and his whole culture lived in sandals. They walked dusty roads all day long, and they had sore, tired feet. An utmost act of hospitality was to have one's servants tend to the guests, bathing and moisturizing their feet. It meant kneeling down, tending to an intimate level of hygiene, up close and personal, taking cracked, sore, smelly feet into one's hands. Uncomfortable, perhaps even humiliating. But what a gift to the guest. Now, I'm not sure if this story of Jesus happened this way or not, and I know I am not being asked to come wash your feet, but I know this story is true. My leadership and my actions, my discipleship, is nothing if I am not up close and personal with you and the world around me. It is not humiliating. It is humbling. And to make sense of that difference at its core and to overcome it means to learn and serve with compassion and love. I don't always find it easy. Fear and discomfort has us shy away from empathy and trust when it costs something of us. We use the word ally often in our affirming journey and our work for racial justice. To be an ally is to support transforming justice publicly, intentionally, and explicitly. To be a trusted friend or partner in supporting one who is oppressed until they are liberated and equal. To be an ally is something like discipleship. If you read stories about the disciples, they follow Jesus in turning the structures upside down, even when it's hard and when it costs them. And they mess up and they say the wrong things, but they try again. They're the straight man for Jesus' punchline, so we can hear the wisdom. And despite the discomfort, they are there till the end and beyond. Being an ally is an everyday choice, every situation, every opportunity. It's not a title I claim for myself, but one that is bestowed on me from time to time. It's humbling and it's an honor. Pam Rocker, who spoke to us last fall as an LGBTQ2SIA speaker and one-time church leader, suggested that we who have the comfort and the centrality, if you will, of the church, if we give up a bit of our comfort, we make room for others to be more comfortable. If those who have the comfort can courageously and faithfully offer up a wee bit of it in service to others, to hear and to feel and become passionate with new stories, this is not humiliating. This is approaching a new church of allyship. We were all made different, so we can learn from each other. To those of you who feel different from me, in ability, race, language, background, or otherwise, I honor the courage that you have shown when you have taught me something, when you have shared your story and forgiven me and my clumsiness. That requires sometimes a lot of energy from you. If we have been privileged to be surrounded by like-minded and like-skinned and like-spirited people, we have been comfortable, but we are late to the adventure of this sacred, diverse world. Don't waste another moment. But how? I hear some of you saying that, and I too say, I'm not sure how. But time and time again, what I am told is that it is good enough to just start with learning. Read one of those books that you're going to buy for the library. Yeah, you, that list in the newsletter. Turn to the Indigenous news on the CBC. Try Al Jazeera for an alternative news source. Come join us this week with Kerr Street Mission, learning to be part of the Neighbor Care Network. You can reach out with love. This week I sent a timid note to my Syrian Muslim friends to say, I was horrified by the murder in London, and I don't know what to say except I care about you. It feels a bit like kneeling at their aching feet, feeling humbled and quiet. It isn't easy to, as the servant song says, walk the mile and bear the load, to share the joy and the sorrow till we've seen this journey through. We weren't called to easy discipleship, though in prayer and in courage and being centered towards peace, it is right and it is good. We sang together, Brother, let me be your servant. Let me be as Christ to you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant too. In grace, in courage, may we see this journey through together. Amen. Well, you know the story of Daniel in the lion's den. We didn't read that today, but that's the one that song's about. Who are the lions? Let's make sure it's not us. That is a wonderful example of just so many people, our choir, learning all of that techie stuff and putting it together to be ready and to offer it for our church on Sunday as part of this community. And another thing that's happening this week is Kerr Street Mission is teaching a few of us about the Neighbor Care Network and how to engage, how to be with people and walk them through things. This is a hands-on, wonderful way of serving our community and meeting new people and hearing their stories and being servants. So I invite you to come along with me. That will be Thursday, and the next Thursday after that, we've got room for more. There are ideas like that popping up all over the place, encouragement to tackle big topics, which is so close to all of our hearts right now. The variety show sprung up from some enthusiasm. The library project and those books that we're all going to buy. A new relationship with PFLAG. Cynthia Steneveld reviewed the book 5 Little Indians. So if you don't know where to start and what to read, she recommends that book as something that you can pick up and get started with. We are sending in hymn requests this summer, songs that you want to hear from Catherine, from the choir, from us, and songs that have inspired something in you for our sermon series. It's not just fun and fluff. Pick something that's inspired a theme for you that speaks to you about the justice issues around or the need that you have for some spirit in your heart. These are good challenges for Deborah and me to hear what you're experiencing and hear what's resonating with you. So if you're joining in as a new friend, if you're not getting our newsletter yet, feel free to check in with Jeannie in the church office or send Deborah a direct email or me. We are all happy to meet you, to talk, and to get you on that newsletter list or just, help you understand St. Paul's a little better. You might want to also check out the United Church website. There are so many resources there about the work that we do together, about the service that we offer, and the ways we look after each other and look to the world. So check that website out and look at the Indigenous Ministries page. Look at our anti-racism page. See the work that we are all doing. This is how we are together in the world. This is how we are the church, and we offer ourselves and we offer our gifts in stewardship and in faith that we are doing good things and we can make a difference. Let's make the world a better place. And we're going to start from this point with our prayers. Harold is putting our thoughts into words this week, and I hope it resonates with you.
Good morning. My name is Harold Devaney, and I will be leading you in prayers this morning. This is a very distressing time in our lives, mixed with happiness of COVID relief. I invite you to still the thoughts in your minds and hearts and open both to the listening for God's voice, giving each of us direction. Let us pray. God of us all, you are impossible to picture in our minds, as you are a combination of everything on this earth. Yet we can hold you in our hearts because you are love, and we understand love. And love can inform and direct our minds to do what is right and just. God of peace, we need your peace right now with all of the distress we feel over the hate that is shown towards other people, specifically our Islamic brothers and sisters, is demonstrated in the violent murder of 3 generations of one family in London, Ontario. Why do we continue to breed hate within your peoples at all levels? Help each of us live out our lives, our fears, from a position of love, not hate. We continue to grieve for the genocide practiced right here in Canada of our own Indigenous people. It is brought front and center by the discovery of the 215 children buried under the residential school in British Columbia, and still institutionalized today, resulting in poisoned water, lack of schools, proper housing and support services, but in general, total lack of action. Let us deal with the pain and sorrow we feel, then turn our hearts and minds towards seeking justice and healing. God of all, why do we continue to harm and treat communities of people not just like us? During Pride Month, help us to work towards breaking down the systemic barriers based on race and who or what we call ourselves. Excite us to seek justice for your people who are living in poverty, who are racially labeled, and those in the LGBTQ2 community. Your love, care, and acceptance is extended to all without conditions. And the sooner we understand and hold this as a truth in our hearts, the sooner we will live together in peace and justice. God of hope, spring alive in our hearts and minds. With this hope, we can see the beauty present in the world and also see the future beauty possible if we act out of love and seek justice for the many communities and people who are trapped in the bonds made by us through our lack of action. Our lack of action is due to our deep-rooted sense of privilege and entitlement. Help us see that we must individually be prepared to break down our right to privilege and remove our sense of entitlement. If we are to really bring justice to all, we see hope, and we may think it shouldn't exist at a time like this, with all of the violence and hate and poverty and anger. But only love and hope can spur us forward. So let's celebrate the beauty of your world, God. The baptism last week of Calliope and the hope she brings to all, the increasing vaccinations and the hope for freedom to fully live again, and the warmth of summer and the beauty of nature around us. Then we can take the joy, hope, and love and take steps towards bringing love, peace, and justice to your world. We bring all of these swirling concerns and many needs to you in the name of your Son, Jesus, and pray together. Eternal Spirit, Earth Maker, Pain Bearer, Life Giver, Source of all that is and that shall be, Father and Mother of us all, loving God in whom is heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
So we are called. You can feel called to coffee hour that starts in just a few minutes on Zoom, and the link is in your newsletter. But first, I hope that you'll sit in and listen to Nwe Jinen, which is a musical group that travels Canada and meets it's First Nations people, meeting on First Nations and on reservations, meeting with young people, creating music, telling stories. The one that you're going to hear at the end of this service is called We Are Medicine. And imagine in this past couple of weeks, young people singing to one another and to the world how they are medicine for one another. People together inspired, inspirited with the love of God and the hope for the future are medicine to each other. May we know this courageously as we meet our neighbors, hear their stories, and learn from them. And so may you feel God's love around you, the call of Jesus in your heart and in your hands, and the daring hope of the Spirit lighting your way. We are people of peace. Amen.
Smiley sulking, one heart and one mind. If one voice and one line. I was all alone, got away from a place that I knew was not safe. God was on my own, stayed strong in my culture, was my escape. I'm a new whole girl, I'm proud of ya, there's so much I say. Like we were in love, that brings my but my hope will not fade.
I flew in on arrival, named me the foundation. I grew to know my people, the experience is sacred. Connected to my roots through gatherings and dances. Inspired to be active, celebrate through potlatches.
I've been bored for a while, some people think I'm a pain. I just wanna feel included, maybe then I will change. I know there's something more in the future that's ahead of me. I wanna be successful and unity's the remedy.
Smiley sulking, one heart and one mind. If Saudi motives, one voice and one line. We're medicine, let's heal our souls with song and dance. Smile you stop, these are the stories of our home and our land. Yeah. Are you aware of my life? There's not much here to do. One day I'll grow up and want my dreams to come true. But we could break this cycle. Our future is in our hands. We don't throw our life away. We'll do what we can.
Bella Cool is home to me, a place of the thunderbird. Fresh glacial waters and sage from the earth. There's life from the mountains and medicines from the hand. The stories that the elders share connect us to the land. Not everybody speaks a mind, some afraid of being judged. Help and learn from one another, my people believe in love. This is a moment, so let us work together. We're a new Hulk strong, we're a new Hulk forever.
Smiley sulking, one heart and one mind. It's Saudi Moody's, one voice and one life. Where medicine learns to heal our souls with song and dance. Smile used to, these are the stories of our home and our land. Yeah.
There's a brightest life is fair, I swear. And wanna aim for the mountain, see the air up there. Need to gain something new to overcome my battles. Leave me light, I will improve. Won't disappear into the shadows.
A wild soul, but deep in my blood I am a leader. The voices of the hunters, follow them into the cities. Hear some thunder for your heart, and a rainbow for the youth. Our home is what it used to be, it's up to you to choose.
Saudi Soki, one heart and one mind. It's Saudi Moody's, one voice and one life. Where